It's time to rev your engines. The Syracuse Nationals proudly presents the Cavalcade of Cars, March 22nd through 23rd at the New York State Fairgrounds. The two-day indoor car show features all the classics, plus lifted trucks, Jeeps, motorcycles, and more. Cavalcade of Cars, CNY.com.
Most broadcasting stars today, broadcasting live from the campus of Syracuse University. This is Newhouse Afternoon.
Newhouse Afternoon on Q Sports Talk, ESPN Syracuse. Jacob K. Dampapilla with you. We have a lot to talk about today, including, just Syracuse basketball. A lot happened this weekend. There's baseball. There's a surprise later. Andrew Siciliano, Q's legend, joined us this morning for an interview. We'll play that later. It was a great interview. But Dan, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm still pretty heartbroken from over the weekend, trying to comprehend everything. John Cena turning heel was the biggest thing that happened this weekend. It's transcending all of sports. It's on ESPN. It's on First Take, and I still don't know how to feel about it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not like we fell for a fake Twitter account saying they filed a trademark or something.
Yeah, that's not real. There's no way.
No, it's fake. John Cena has, if you haven't known, granted the most Make-A-Wishes, I believe, to young children, which is amazing that he's done that. But he, right now, is a bad guy. So
it's heartbreaking stuff.
It's heartbreaking stuff. I saw an article this morning on LinkedIn about businesses, how you could apply it to your brand.
Really?
Yeah, everyone's talking about it. But tough loss for Syracuse.
Yeah.
In overtime.
That's another heartbreaking.
Heartbreaker. I mean, they had the lead. They let it up. Just a tough loss for them. I mean, just a tough road loss. Now they're on their way to Dallas, SMU. Mm-hmm. It's pretty nice. It's a nice area down there. Been there once. AT&T Stadium.
Sure, it's nice and warm.
No, it's not actually.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised.
Really?
Cold. Let's find out.
It's not cold in Dallas.
100%. If only for you, Josh here.
Yeah, the one time we need our Dallas guy here.
63 degrees
That
right
is
now.
not cold.
56, 75. It's not it's pretty cold there.
You and I know very well as New Yorkers that we would take 60 degrees any day of the week.
Yeah, for sure I would, but I mean, you get the point.
Back to the actual basketball and the heartbreaker that was this loss to Virginia Tech. I mean, everything that's happening for Syracuse men's basketball right now, it's just nothing can go right. It seems like even when guys find their stride, you had Jair Davis score 21, J.J. Starling had 16, Eddie Lampkin with 16. Things just still aren't clicking. Things just cannot go right for this team, and especially talking about late in that game, giving up a 14-point run to get this game to overtime in the first place.
Yeah, no, totally. The game went. It was just tough. I have the score sheet, the stuff here. I mean, Syracuse, their defense is a problem. Mm-hmm. And that's the issue. This game was their fourth worst non-garbage time defensive efficiency in a game this year. I know that's a lot, but that was basically their fourth worst defensive performance of the year. Because there was no really garbage time in this game.
Yeah, when you give up 104 points, I mean, that's going to happen.
Yeah, no, Syracuse, and they scored 95 too, which is great, but still, yeah, you can't do that. And I'll share this little tidbit with you. So I'm fortunate enough to be seated very close to the court for these recent games. And I've seen Autry. I'm very close to Autry. I could hear every word he says. Well, actually, speaking of that, I can't hear what he says. And he's 5 feet from me. So I wonder, how can the players hear this guy yelling when I can't even hear him, when I'm closer to him than the players are? Like, seriously, this is full serious. I think there is a massive communication issue on this team.
You think so?
100%, because I can't hear him.
I think it depends a lot on, every coach is different, right? And every coach has a different methodology in terms of how they want to coach their team. Adrian Autry does not strike me as a guy who would be openly yelling at his players. I mean, I kind of feel like we've seen with experience he's more of a more laid-back guy, especially in those post-game pressers. He's very soft-spoken. He's more like all right, guys, let's reel it in. We'll talk about this kind of stuff in the huddle rather than yelling it out on the court.
Well, I mean, more like plays, like that type of thing. That's what I mean. I can't hear him, so I don't know how that's being communicated in the game when I can't hear I genuinely can't really hear what he's saying.
I mean, I think that's a fair assessment. And one of my biggest criticisms of Syracuse basketball this season, too, is that they don't really have much of an offensive identity. It doesn't seem like they're going out there and running plays. It seems like they're just trying to figure it out as they go. Hence why some guys like J.J. Starling take so many shots in a game.
Yeah, and I mean, a couple games ago when they played, who was it? blanking. This feels like last week. Last Wednesday. Who did they play last Wednesday?
Last Wednesday?
It was Boston College, maybe?
No. Jeez, this is bad luck on us. Hold on.
No, because the games are blended. It's all blended. NC State, that's what it was. Part of the game plan, the keys to the game, was to take threes. And Chris Bell didn't. A key to the game, where I was looking at least, was Chris Bell, and he didn't really come through that much, even though that game was. I mean, Syracuse did win pretty nicely that game, luckily, because the point spread was very close.
I was going to say the biggest thing I think there was NC State didn't really shoot the ball well. You can kind of point the finger there if you want to say it was bad NC State offense or good Syracuse defense. But either way, Syracuse got that win, and that was a huge win because it essentially clinched their spot in the ACC tournament.
Yeah, no, and they're in it. And speaking of the ACC tournament, the women have their matchup on Wednesday at 1 o'clock versus Boston College. They played yesterday.
They did, yeah, yesterday.
Which is an interesting thing in sports when you play an opponent, especially in like basketball. It's an interesting
This is a
dynamic.
Very interesting dynamic because I don't know if you remember the first game back in January.
They killed them.
They lost by 40.
Yep.
And then Syracuse dominates the game yesterday. So now you put it in a neutral site. Who has the advantage? The team that shows that they can dominate both times? It's a little weird. It's hard to choose.
Very, very weird. I mean, I hope they win because, I mean, we hope everyone wins here.
Of course.
And the men are not really. No offense, the women. I'm more open them than I do for the men, unfortunately. Honestly, not really. Unfortunately, they're the winning program right now.
You got to be in it to win it. So either team could really go and make a run. You never know.
I mean, prove me wrong, please. I would love that. I mean, Andrew was telling us, we'll play this later, about his time seeing basketball, and I unfortunately couldn't relate to him.
Yeah, Andrew and Jacob had to bring up his sob story to Andrew that he's the first graduating class to not see a tournament.
It's an historic thing. 1962, that's 50 years.
It is 50 years.
There's going to be a point soon where no one on this planet's alive that hasn't seen that everyone alive on this planet has seen Syracuse, who's went to Syracuse, saw them in the tournament, besides me.
Except you.
Yes. And we might almost, I'm telling you, more of the world that Syracuse graduates has seen them in a tournament than not. There's a very slim percentage. It
is very sad. It's not sad. It's not a good thing.
A sob story would actually be an understatement, I think.
I think it might be an understatement.
A massive, just heartbreak, rip your heart out type stuff.
It is very unfortunate, but it's not over yet. You know, yes, Syracuse is currently the 15 seed, and that's not great, but they'd be playing a Florida State team who they played somewhat close this season. It's not ridiculous to say that Syracuse could make a run.
No, not at all. I mean, I questioned I just questioned the team a lot, but I mean, in basketball, these tournaments are a crapshoot.
They are. In
certain sports, in NBA, in the playoffs, the best team wins, usually. You have the whole thing. March Madness is a crapshoot.
It is.
You're going to get teams like, I mean, NC State made it to the Final Four last year. You have these teams who just get hot, and they find their way in. So, not saying Syracuse, is it unlikely? Yeah, I mean, we'd be crazy to say that it's likely.
No, yes, it is very unlikely. But it's not impossible.
Nothing's impossible.
Exactly. That's how you got to think about it. It's just interesting because you put these games in a neutral site. You're all in one spot. You're playing day after day. You got to catch some fire. And Syracuse this season has yet to really have that. They had that little stretch. They won those 2 games against Georgia Tech and Boston College. They really have not shown this season this team is capable of going on a run, which is why we're obviously skeptical. But you can't sit here and think that the pieces wouldn't click, right? You can't think like if J.J. Starling's on, if Eddie Lampkin's on, and you get some secondary scoring, I could see it.
Lampkin is a great player. He's a big guy who gets his points in the paint, and I mean, he dominates. A couple games ago, I saw him a couple hours before the game, knocking threes consecutively. It was pretty impressive.
Maybe he's got to let him fly a little more.
Maybe like he was seriously probably made 8 or 9 in a row from 3, swishing. It's
impressive.
Boom, 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 boom. It's pretty good stuff.
I'll ask you, Jacob, because right now, like I said, Syracuse is currently the 15 seed. But they're also tied for the 13 seed with Cal and Notre Dame. So with the teams that are within this 10 to 15 range, you got Florida State, Pitt, Virginia, Cal, and Notre Dame. Who do you think would be the best draw for Syracuse in the first round?
That's so tough.
I'm putting you a little bit on the spot here.
You really are, and I almost want to say Cal.
I mean, they did beat them. That kind of helps.
They beat him pretty good. Looking at the sort of the box score type stuff here with the percentiles and stuff, they did beat him very good in rebounding and stuff like that. So I would say Cal. I think you need a team that Syracuse is not a three. I mean, Syracuse during the Cal game shot 50% from three.
Yeah, that was a crazy game. Syracuse, one of the only ACC teams to go win out west, by the way.
Yes, which is impressive. It's tough. The time difference, the traveling, all that. I'm sure the players are excited to be there in the warm weather too. It's the whole thing. That I think Syracuse, their only way to win is by making threes.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of what it is, basketball these days.
I mean, that is just the state of basketball. But, there are some interesting teams here that I think Syracuse could match up with. The Tony Bennett-less Virginia Cavaliers, I think, specifically could be one. That team has really struggled to find its identity. Notre Dame, both games have been really close. Usually it comes down to who can take over between Marcus Burton and J.J. Starling. So that could be a very interesting one as well. But no matter what, I think the team that you really want to avoid on this list, because we've seen it multiple times this season, the Pitt Panthers just have Syracuse's number.
They do, and they always do. I mean, even football, that they beat them well this year. But football, I feel like for the past couple of years, has always been a tough matchup too. They just Pittsburgh, they're on to Syracuse. So maybe they have some intel on us.
Something about that Northeastern connection. I mean, if you even want to call Pittsburgh in the Northeast, that's like borderline.
I mean, maybe they've been banging trash cans to cheat.
Oh, come on. You're still not over that? It's been almost 8 years.
Feels like yesterday. But Virginia, though, actually, they would kill Virginia. They are not a good rebounding team at all.
So we're just going to have to wait and see on that front. Still a couple more games left. Like we said, SMU tomorrow night, and then they get to play Virginia in the finale on Saturday. So who knows? You might have a similar to the Syracuse-Boston College issue right now, where the two teams that play each other to end the season match up a few days later.
If it's that case, would you rather, assuming they split, well, actually not assuming anything.
You can't assume
Would you rather win or lose? And, what gives you the better chance to win the second time, losing or winning first?
That's winning. You have to win. Mm-hmm. I think if you win, depends how you win. If you win convincingly, especially, then yeah.
Well, yeah.
But say you lose a tight game, you're both going to know that, you're going to have the intel on the other team. You're going to know what works and what doesn't. It's going to be different the second game no matter what.
Yeah, totally. No, very good. So we're going to take a quick break here. On the other side, we're going to talk to Andrew Siciliano is going to come. We're going to play that interview. Phenomenal interview. Syracuse legend. True Syracuse
around
legend.
Legend very loosely today.
It was because he's a legend. I mean, come on.
All right.
In the NFL media world, I mean.
Yeah, he is
Andrew Siciliano.
Great guy.
So we're going to continue the chatter on QSportsTalk.com. So it was honestly an incredible interview, though.
It was.
I texted you as soon as it was over, and I was like, wow. I'm like,
we gotta get there. We can't. We
gotta get there.
We're leaving everybody hanging here.
We are, which is not good. And we have a surprise. I have a surprise later too. My package came.
Oh, jeez.
So this was a good one. So we'll see you on the other side on ESPN 97.7 on Newhouse Afternoon.
You could have been like, hey, do you notice that account's missing an R before going on air, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's what I told you. I said I did the subtle hint that we at least didn't fall for a fake Twitter account.
Yeah, on the air.
Yeah.
I mean, Wessel. Yep. Yeah, that'll do it. It's like Centel. Oh, we should talk about the death of Centel.
No, it's back.
Yeah, I know it's back. It's crazy to me.
You saw what John Cena tweeted? Have the discipline to do what needs to be done, especially when you don't feel like it.
My favorite bit from this. Are you a wrestling fan?
Yes.
Big wrestling fan? So you know how like R-Truth loves John Cena and that's his childhood hero? Like that's like the storyline thing. So throughout the weekend, R-Truth kept tweeting at people. Was like, guys, he might not. We gotta hear him out. What he did. Can't blame him for what he did or something like that. It was so funny. Or he was saying that it wasn't real, it was AI and stuff like that.
Yeah, the Rangers played it. Yeah.
Like the FanDuel Sports memes.
Mm-hmm.
Like my boy sending me the part
pitching tonight. Oof.
I heard. And Judge is in the lineup, right?
I think so, yeah.
Jacob, did you bring the goods?
What goods?
The special stuff?
Hell yeah.
This is going to be...
R-Truth.
What about C Nation? What about the fans? John, are you for real saying F them kids asking for a friend?
Are you leading into...
I'll tease.
Or we just read you? Okay.
I'll lead in and we'll tease into the interview.
Said it was AI generated.
Yeah, that's what he said. He was like, is this AI generated? Because the entire match, I'm like, there's no way they can do a good guy versus good guy at WrestleMania in the main event. I'm like, once Cena won, I'm like, how is this going to make sense storyline-wise? I thought Cody was going to turn heel.
Well, they did it.
And I need Cody to turn heel because that's his best stuff. Yeah, but that's like, it's a different era now. It's all about the storytelling.
Shannon Sharp says, man, John Cena ought to be ashamed of himself. He waited all this time to be a heel. Man, you know what? Hey, Cody, me and you against John Cena and Travis Scott, Summerfest, SummerSlam, Cena, you need to pay for this. Me and Cody Rhodes going to make sure you pay for it.
Travis Scott being there for that was just the funniest thing. And then there was that one segment, like later in the segment, Travis Scott just bends down and whacks Cody for real right across the face.
You want to hear a little nugget? He's been training as a wrestler.
I know. I think that's hilarious because if he's anything like Bad Bunny was, he was insane when he did that. Well, Damian Priest carried that match, but he put on a 5-star match with a rapper.
I mean, Travis Scott's on another planet, so I wouldn't have much hope for him. Come on.
Okay, but how about the Fiend Rock matchup? That entrance?
That was so funny.
It was pretty cool.
But no, I can't believe they broke my heart like that.
According to a report, NJ Devils, Luke Hughes was emotional in the locker room following his brother Jack's injury.
H-O-T.
Frank the Tank, this means Jack's career is over. Well, I don't know. Buster Only, by the way, was dancing.
Of course. Scott Van Pelt was doing the chop as well.
No, we like Scott now. Marcus Stroman, you saw his line from 2 days ago? 2.2 innings pitched, 4 hits. 4 earned runs, no walks, 1 strikeout, 2 home runs.
Oh, great. Second Met game of the season this year is on Apple TV.
I can't be surprised.
Come on. It's Mets Astros. That's not a crazy...
The Yankees got Joe Buck for the first game of the year.
That is cool.
Hell yeah.
All right, I'll tease this up.
Yeah.
Watch your favorite ESPN Syracuse sports talk shows on QSportsTalk.com. Tomorrow's broadcasting stars today. Broadcasting live from the campus of Syracuse University. This is Newhouse Afternoon.
Welcome back into Newhouse Afternoon here on ESPN Radio Syracuse. Dan Papillo here with you alongside Jacob K. Good pal Josh Radjanov couldn't be here this week. A little unfortunate, but the show must go on. We've got a special little interview here for you that we teased before the break. But before we do that, this hour of Newhouse Afternoon is powered by Drivers Village Cicero. Go to dvoffers.com for more information.
I passed there yesterday, by the way.
Did you really?
Yeah.
And then did you think about our ad? You were like, I can't wait to hear that on the air tomorrow.
I did it. Actually, I saw it and I said, oh, the dots connected.
They do. But like I said, we got a special little interview here for you. Earlier today, me and Jacob got to talk to Andrew Siciliano, Syracuse alum, voice of the Cleveland Browns, and an NFL analyst. And he had a lot to say about the Combine, about Syracuse basketball. So much to talk about. Take it away, Jacob.
Andrew, the floor is yours. The interview. We are joined right now live by Andrew Siciliano, Syracuse alum, NFL great in the media, Syracuse legend.
Wow, you guys are really throwing. You guys are landed on thick this morning. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you for joining us. So of course, Syracuse football is this new sensation here. We have Fran Brown leading the charge. The vibes are different. Basketball is not what it was. That's another disaster. That's not worth our time to talk about today. But football is. And Kyle McCord this past weekend was throwing darts, no pun intended, at the Combine. What do you expect from him in the draft and in the pros?
Well, gentlemen, joking aside, it's great to be here, and I'm sorry for cutting you off, Jacob. I do appreciate the kind words. I am excited about SU football, certainly, as you guys are as well. I did not, as I texted you, get a chance to actually see him throw in person, but everyone who was there, and I was there for the entire week before the quarterbacks threw on Saturday, had good things to say about Kyle McCord, not only how he did in his interviews, meeting with all 32, or I don't know if he met with all 32, but those that did want to meet with him, I'm sure there were plenty, but the on-field stuff as well. The ball really, really comes out of his hand well. You can see that whether it's at the East-West Shrine game. You could see that throughout an entire season at SU. Frankly, you could see that throughout his Ohio State career as well. I know Buckeye fans will likely never forgive what happened against Michigan, but so be it. They have moved on. They have won a national championship. It worked out well for the Buckeyes. It worked out well for Kyle. And as I tweeted over the weekend, I think Saturday, as he was throwing, as my former NFL Network colleagues were doing an evaluation and just comparing the quarterbacks, the guys other than the top two, is he elevated a program. Now, he didn't do it alone. Obviously, you mentioned Fran Brown. They're all kind of great players. Rondé Gadsden and Jackson Meeks came from Georgia. Obviously, there's a long list. But he helped elevate a program. And that, to me, is worth something. It has to be worth something. I know it's not the same as saying, well, look what Cam Ward did to Miami, and look what Shedeur Sanders did for Colorado. But it needs to be part of that conversation, and I think that carries a lot of weight with NFL teams.
Andrew, one thing that I thought was particularly interesting looking into Kyle McCord as a prospect after the Combine weekend, Lance Zerline of NFL.com did his analysis of the player, and he said Kyle McCord's NFL comparison was Mitch Trubisky. And that was something that Syracuse fans weren't super happy about. So I'm kind of curious your thoughts on that.
Well, I will counter Lance, and Lance is a friend, with another friend, and we'll go NFL Network on NFL Network Crime here. Daniel Jeremiah, if you listen, kind of dropped in a Derek Carr during the broadcast as well. I'm not going to take shots at a guy like Mitch Trubisky, who is still cashing checks as an NFL quarterback. Obviously, the number 2 overall pick thing hasn't necessarily panned out the way the Bears had hoped, and he's bounced around a little bit. But I am bullish on Kyle McCord. I do think that if you had to throw him in there and he had to start a game next year in 2 years, I do think that the guy can play. Listen, trying to forecast what a college quarterback will do at the next level is as difficult a science as there is in professional sports scouting. And while a lot of it has to do with the player, his makeup, his physical skills, a lot of it has to do with where he ends up. If Donovan McNabb had gone 1 overall to the Browns in 99, gentlemen, I know a little bit before your time, instead of going to the Eagles, would he have had the same career? Well, in 99, the Browns were an expansion team with an expansion roster after an expansion draft with a suspect, to put it nicely, offensive line. He would not have had the same career. Donovan and I have had that conversation. He went to the Eagles. It worked out well. And fit and location and where you land will say a lot for not only Kyle McCord, but for Shedeur Sanders, for Cam Ward, for Will Howard, for Dilly Gabriel, for any of the quarterbacks in this year's draft.
So in my opinion, at least, and I know the three of us know how great Kyle is because we saw him either closely or from TV. Why is he not among the conversation of the other quarterbacks too? Because again, as you said, he led Syracuse, he changed the program around. Why does it feel like he's more of a sleeper pick than some other guys?
So the NFL draft is funny, guys. There are always the shiny objects at the top, and in this year it's Sanders and Ward, and then there is everyone else. Rare is the year in which you have 6 quarterbacks taken in the top 12, which is what we had last year. They all, for the most part, turned out okay. Obviously, Chicago went and fired its head coach, and they have a new head coach, but no one is writing off Caleb Williams in any way, shape, or form. This year, you have the top 2, and then it's a fight for number 3. Right now, I'd say Jackson Dart is in the clubhouse, right, as the number 3 guy. But Tyler Shuck and Kyle McCord, There are others that are, I mean, Quinn Ewers, although I don't think he's going to get there. There are others that are very much on the back nine. I don't think I'm willing to bet my wallet figuratively, not literally, on a third quarterback getting into the first round. But I think a third quarterback is going to get into the first round. Now, I don't think it's going to be Kyle McCord, but you can make the argument that the day 2 quarterbacks this year are it's almost a more interesting conversation than the day 1 quarterbacks, because you are going to get a starter out of there, but history dictates you normally don't. Like, I'll roll it back to you. Who is the last day 2 quarterback? And there's an obvious answer. But other than the guy that won the Super Bowl this year, who was the 53rd overall pick, when you hear this theory, oh, we're going to take the best player available, we'll just take a quarterback in the 3rd or 4th round. When was the last time that worked other than Jalen Hurts? Who wants to go first?
I guess Brock Purdy could work in this case.
He was a day 3 quarterback. He was the very last pick in the draft. I'm talking that middle round. Brock Purdy's a lottery ticket.
I got Dak Prescott, but I mean, still, he's a fifth round. Yeah.
He was a day 3 quarterback. Exactly. This attitude, and obviously I'm giving you a very narrow window here. This attitude that, we're going to take a quarterback in the 2nd or 3rd round generally doesn't work, right? You don't find a long-term starter there. I think in this group, you may find 1 or 2.
I think that's fair. And I'm curious, kind of shifting gears a little bit, because one of the narratives that at least I've had in conversation with other people surrounding McCord has been his age. And I know we're hitting this end here of like COVID years and red shirt years and stuff like that. You know, guys playing a lot longer in college than they used to. How much do you think NFL teams actually value a quarterback who might be a year or 2 older or younger than the other guys who may have?
So Kyle's going to turn 23 on week 2 of the NFL season. He is not too old in any way, shape, or form.
I mean, especially with, like, sorry to cut you off, but even like guys like Cam Ward, who are about that 24 range compared to a Shedeur Sanders who's 21.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I think right now we're in a window where, maybe 5 years ago, people would have cared more. They don't care right now. They truly don't. I think especially at the quarterback position, if you look at last year's class, you saw the number of starts Bo Nix had. He broke the college record, or set the college record for most starts in a career after going from Auburn to Oregon. Dylan Gabriel broke that record this year. He got up into the 60s. I think Bo Nix was 61 and Gabriel got to like 64, something like that. I think with college quarterbacks right now, it's actually a benefit. It is not a negative, because experience matters. Look at Anthony Richardson, the other side of the coin here. He started a dozen games, maybe 13 at Florida. He clearly needed more experience, and now the Colts are stuck between, well, he's not ready. Geez, we knew he wasn't going to be ready. Do we put him out there and try to give him the experience at the expense of all the veterans on the team that want to win now? You don't want to be stuck in that position.
So let's shift our focus to the pros here. So I guess the quarterback market's pretty tough right now, because not a lot of teams need a quarterback, and the teams who do are not great. So you have the Giants, Jets, you have I'm going to be forgetting teams here. I guess the Vikings, kind of. You're not really sure what they probably don't need a quarterback. They have McCarthy or
we're talking in the draft potentially.
Yes, or via free agency. Sort of which teams can Kyle sort of fit on? I think, in my opinion, someone said a few weeks ago, maybe to the Jets. And I think I'm a Cowboys fan, full disclosure here. I know, painful, but I'm a New Yorker, so I know the Jets' pain. Do you see Kyle going to the Jets potentially?
I would respectfully argue that there is a long list of teams that needs a quarterback. He could go to the Jets. Sure, I could see that. Obviously not going in the top 10 to the Jets. I'd be stunned if that happened. But if you go through the list, the Jets and Giants clearly need a quarterback. I think the Giants need one more urgently than the Jets, considering the coach and the GM many people thought were on the hot seat at the end of last year. The Giants, that's why they went for Matthew Stafford, are in now mode. The Jets, with a new coach and GM, are in long-term mode. Tennessee needs a quarterback. Cleveland needs a quarterback or 2. Miami needs a backup quarterback, because the last couple of years they really had nothing behind Tua. I mean, Dylan Gabriel would be an amazing fit there. The Raiders badly need a quarterback. I would argue that the Seahawks need a quarterback behind Geno Smith. This could be the last year there for him on an expensive veteran contract. I'm willing to guarantee the Seahawks will draft a quarterback. It might not be till the 5th round, but they're going to do it. The Steelers badly need a quarterback. Could be Russell. It could be Fields, probably Fields, but why don't you think outside the box? Not you. I mean, in general, if you're the Steelers, and try to find something different. There are a lot of teams out there that need a quarterback. So I could see Kyle in Vegas. I could see Kyle in New York. I could see Kyle as a mid-round pick. Maybe not in Tennessee. Maybe that's the wrong one. I could see him. The Cowboys need a number 2 quarterback. Cooper Rush isn't going to be there forever. And but Trey Lance is going to be a free agent.
Yep.
So, Denver could use a number 2. There are a lot of teams out there that need a quarterback. And I think Kyle is much like Will Howard, much like, other guys in that group, the perfect developmental mid-round guy or 2nd or 3rd round guy, where if we need to throw him in there for a couple of games, and that's how NFL GMs think, hey, can he get me through a couple of games mid-season when somebody rolls an ankle? I think he fits that mold perfectly.
Well, as a diehard Jet fan, I'll take anything I can get at this point, whether it's McCord or somebody who can just take the reins and play competent quarterback. But I want to dial it back a little bit. You were talking about the combine. We were talking about Kyle McCord a lot. There's a lot of other Orange guys that are playing in this, that participated in this combine. Guys like LaQuinn Allen, Oronde Gadsden, Fidel Diggs, for example. What did you see out of those guys if you got to catch them?
Yeah, I mean, Diggs was obviously great on his field work, and what a deep front 7 class this is. LaQuinn is the opposite of Kyle. I mean, he's one of the youngest guys at the combine. I don't think people understand how good of a pass catcher he is. I was down on the field at the Senior Bowl and saw that firsthand, not 10 feet away. How good those hands are on a deep ball in the end zone during practice on Wednesday. So it's a very deep running back class. There are 5 or 6 guys at least probably ahead of LaQuinn Allen, but I think he could be a starter next year in this league. He's probably not going to the 2nd round, but I think he's an immediate contributor. Oronde Gadsden, kind of that tweener at tight end, highly, highly productive player, but he tested really well. All things considered. Look, you got your top 2. You got Loveland, you got Tyler Warren at the top. Harold Fannin, kind of a tweener on his size as well. You kind of want to put him at H-back, but he's not really a blocker, but he's super productive. Mason Taylor at the top of the tight end board as well. I think he's going to go higher after this weekend. I think he could be the 3rd tight end in the 1st round. But Oronde Gadsden is going to play, and I think play for a long time in this league. It is very encouraging to see SU put this many guys at the combine. It's not like, because I would always get my file from NFL Network and do my Syracuse search, and I put in keyword, Control F, Syracuse, and I get, one hit. Great. It's great. It's Andre Schmidt. Okay, that was the one hit. Now you have a legit list of players here that are going to be real contributors at the next level.
Would it be a hot take to say we're back?
It would be a hot. Now, here's what I would say. It is awesome. It is so good to have the program back. It's hard to put into words, and I'm happy that you guys are there to see it and to experience it. It is really hard in college football these days to maintain it. And so fingers crossed, I have a lot of faith in Fran Brown. I truly do. Got to meet him when he was out here last year in May out here in Los Angeles. Blown away by the guy. And actually, it was a big May Mester thing out here as well. So Kyle and Oronde and Barron and a whole bunch of guys, Jackson Meeks, are all out here, got to speak to the class. Fran Brown was great. Very encouraged. It's hard to maintain it. Let's hope everyone pitches in and you maintain it, because that Tennessee game is getting here sooner than you think.
I was going to say, to put you on the spot, I mean, looking at this Syracuse season next year for football, it's a gauntlet. The schedule, I don't think 10 wins is really in the cards. But what would really be considered a success for a program that just went from the bottom to the top just like that in a year?
I mean, I don't want to put a win total on it, but just what's a good bar? You know it when you see it. Like, are we still playing really good competitive football, winning games, and in a bowl conversation? I think that's what to expect next year. I'm not saying be happy with mediocrity, right? But it is hard to replace a quarterback and half your roster. It was amazing in 2024. I have faith in Fran Brown at maintaining it. The schedule, however, you're right, is a gauntlet. And I know you're talking about that Colgate game, week 1 of the NFL season, clearly.
No, totally. I'm honestly hyped up right now, even though, unfortunately, I will be graduating, so I won't be here. Luckily for Dan.
They still let you back in? You're allowed to come back?
Come back for a fifth.
Always true. I guess you could always fail a class on purpose and be and experience football again. I mean, maybe not the worst idea.
Come on back. Hey, I have not been back to the Dome for a football game since I graduated, and I graduated when there was black and white film. I have been back for basketball games. I've been to SU games on the road. I've been to countless. Every year we've made the Final Four since I've graduated. I've been there. And there have been a couple of those, including the national championship in 2003, which was as good as it gets. But I've not been back to the Dome for a game. I got to get that one of these days.
Wow, no, actually, in my time here, I've seen no tournament appearances. So we're the first class of 2025, first class since 72 to not see a single tournament appearance.
If I were not wired in with an IFB right now, I would get up, and on the other side of my room here is my home office. You can't see this, obviously. If I were to turn the camera around, we'll never get the shot right. But I have the New Orleans Times-Picayune the morning after we won, and there's a giant pile, Jerry McNamara and Carmelo and everyone on the floor at the Dome, and it says Clockwork Orange. So the front page of the Times-Picayune framed right over there. Yours truly was there, sitting courtside, experience of a lifetime.
Do you still follow the basketball team close? I'm curious what your thoughts are.
I admittedly this year I have not watched as much as I should. I am rooting for Red, and I hope he can turn it around. I also know that it is tough out there in the NIL world for anyone who does not have a massive budget, and it seems that not trying to give too much of a hot take, that seems like that is not the case this year. So I had the game on a little bit on Saturday. Yay, overtime. Obviously, they couldn't pull it out.
I mean, spinning around, just this week, we had the big news from Syracuse Athletics, from John Wildhack, that they're starting a $50 million NIL fundraiser.
I saw that.
For years. I mean, you kind of need that in the new world of college football, especially, and basketball.
I will auction off this autographed Jim Brown helmet that I have on the shelf behind me.
Well, thank you, Andrew, for the time. This was an awesome interview on Newhouse Afternoon on QSportsTalk.com. And we'll talk to you guys. We'll be back after the break.
You got it,
Newhouse Afternoon.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are
who won it with a big game before.
Brutal.
Unclear. Yeah, we're back on air. I was telling Dan about the friendly bets I was having with a friend this weekend. My hockey friendly bets were lost just terrible. I mean, Capitals, I lost that one. I lost the Ducks. They were fully friendly. Like we were just, and I lost the bet 3 times. So I am a loser today.
Please make sure, everybody, that you bet responsibly. 8778-HOPE-NY.
Yeah, no, of course. And it's more friendly bets. It's fun to bet friendly with a friend. And, of course, I'm the loser, so I am the one paying. I'm the loser, unfortunately. And when you have a friend who tells you to bet something and you don't bet it, kind of is a feeling. But also, again, friendly bet.
I feel like, it evens out the height a little bit.
DJ LeMahieu.
It's like a standing desk.
I've always wanted a standing desk. I've always wanted one.
So you could pace back and forth and think about Marcus Stroman.
I'm a stander. I need to have the option to sit though. Like if you can just stand, that would be a problem. But like if I could sit too and do both.
So you would stand. I mean, some of them move.
Like this.
You can
No, but like this option, like I could sit. Like if there was no chair here, I'd think it would be a little bit frustrating.
Yeah.
Like I'd want to sit. But when you have the option to do both, then you
never realize how much you want to sit until you can't sit.
Exactly. Very excellent point.
That's going on my tombstone.
Yeah. Okay.
So we're talking baseball here?
Yeah.
All right. Is there anything you want me to say specifically to tee up your little present, or?
You want your little story first? I'll tell you this too. This is the first thing I was telling you about. So, give me a second. So you know how I did the whole legal paper thing?
Yes.
So I last week really wanted to buy the 2025 Yankees media guide.
And put it on legal paper?
No. And buy I have the copy on my computer.
Oh, you can buy it?
You can buy it either like a notebook for $20, or what I wanted to do for $80 is that to bind it.
Ooh, that'd be
but
cool.
I did not decide to do that. Well, I might still. But that was my...
You didn't do it?
I never told you I was going to do it. I never... There were considerations. Yankees, media guide.
In other news...
There's something else, though.
Brandon Nimmo, right knee soreness. Isn't playing.
Flum's going to lose
but
it.
It's a low level of concern.
That means high level of concern.
Which means he's not going to play.
He's going to start the season. He's had a rough day. Fleming.
T. Higgins just got the franchise tag.
Yeah. Cowboys are going to tag Osa Odigizua. Osa Odigizua.
Damn, Robert Eiler, who plays AJ from The Sopranos, turned 40 today. So old. I saw that.
Jimmy Johnson.
It's just like, at this point, what is The Rock gonna... Is Rock's not gonna fight again?
Mm-mm.
It's just... What's the point?
Brandon Nimmo. Oh, my God.
You can take this one. These Islander lines are so...
He's smiling. Look at him smiling.
He's so feeble.
ESPN 97.7 and 100.1. Watch live on QSportsTalk.com. Tomorrow's broadcasting stars today. Broadcasting live from the campus of Syracuse University. This is Newhouse Afternoon.
Newhouse Afternoon. Jacob K. Dan Papilla with you on QSportsTalk.com. ESPN 97.7. So we got to talk some baseball. We're actually really close to baseball. We're just over 3 weeks away.
So excited.
The Dodgers play in Japan a little bit, probably through less than 3 weeks, maybe.
Yeah, I don't think that's that far away, because it's not. That's technically opening day, right?
And that's like in 2 weeks, probably. So we have that going on.
March 18th. That's 2 weeks.
Yeah. Wow. How about that? That's
awesome.
That's 2 weeks from tomorrow. Well, 6 a.m. if you want to wake up. I mean, will I watch it? No.
Come on.
Sasaki and Yamamoto, I guess, will return.
It's Yamamoto against Imanaga.
Imanaga,
all Japanese matchup.
I hope the Dodgers get shelled.
I mean, of course you'd say that.
Well, why wouldn't we hope that?
No, we all hope that, of course.
Let's give you a little update on DJ LeMahieu here. Yankees apparently starting third baseman here for whatever reason.
Well, I'm standing up.
DJ had a little calf issue, and his reaction was, listen to these quotes. "Are you kidding me? Are you serious right now? Is this a sick joke? What?"
That's his reaction to getting hurt?
Yes. He hasn't been out, like, what?
I mean, I guess this guy's made of glass. I mean, you want to talk about another guy who's made of glass? We just talked about
Brandon
during the
Nimmo.
break.
Brandon
Nimmo dealing with some knee soreness, because of course he is. The Mets are just all over the place in terms of injuries because that's just what happens during the spring, especially in the rotation. And the one guy that you had as a fallback option in free agency signed with the Brewers earlier today, Jose Quintana.
Jose Quintana. So I guess you got to get Marcus Stroman now. You can have him for free.
You saw that rumor, the Stroman for Beatty?
Fake account, yeah, but you can have him. I mean, the Stro show, 2.2 innings pitched, 4 runs. Strike out 2 home runs against the Braves yesterday.
Give you Paul Blackburn. He didn't get out of the first inning. You got 4 runs yesterday.
Fine. We could release him. But the Yankees this year there's a saying, a little slogan we're gonna have this year.
Oh boy.
Give me 1 second here.
For those of you who don't know, if you do not follow us on Twitter, Jacob has a special present that he needs to show us, and it appears he is taking off his hoodie. What does that say?
Prepare, compete, win.
Why?
That saying is in the locker room. This Max Fried, when he signed, he said these words came to me: prepare, compete, win.
Okay.
For every game, we prepare. We do our research. We make sure we win the opponent. We compete at the highest level. No stupid half stupid double like rest days. We compete. And most importantly, we win. Prepare, compete, win. How about that?
I'm ready to run through a brick wall. I don't even like the team.
I'd be a great manager. I would be a great manager.
Jacob K for manager. He'll start tweaking out as soon as anybody gets hurt in any degree, but it's okay because his team will prepare, they will compete, and they will win.
We overcome adversity. We overcome we're resilient. We fight, and we have the heart. We don't give up.
So what about Marcus Stroman? Does he prepare, compete, and win?
Negative. He deserves the boot.
So if somebody doesn't fit the criteria, they have to leave?
Yes, because it's accountability.
So we're making the start? We're bringing that into this?
Yes, very much so. I mean, as I said, I told you this months ago, and you guys laughed at me. For Fran Brown would be imagine if the Yankees had someone like Fran Brown. And I said this, and you guys were like, "Oh my God!"
You need a baseball-minded Fran Brown. Okay.
I mean, I'm right here.
Ridiculous.
First of all, if I managed the Yankees, I'd probably lead them to 95 wins or more.
How?
Not even a debate.
What would you do differently?
Because I'd have these players just fired up, wanting to win. I'd get in just because, and if you don't run to first base, your butt belongs on the bench.
You and Sal from Staten Island think the same thing.
No. Sal from Staten Island. This is Jacob K right here.
This is Jacob from Long Island.
No. This is Jacob K.
The Jacob K.
Aaron Boone's predecessor.
All right.
Right here.
Okay. Well.
By the way, Brian Cashman has been ducking me for months. Full disclosure, I may have told you this or may have not. I fully messaged him for an interview, and he read my message and did not respond. So, Brian Cashman, and I also, by the way, have doing some journalism stuff. I've been trying to be a journalist. How about this? And I messaged some Yankees people on LinkedIn, and no one responded to me.
Okay.
Because they must know who I am.
You're infamous in the Yankee sphere.
Let's take a quick break here, and then we'll wrap up. This is fun today. This is Newhouse Afternoon. Jacob K. Dampapillo, QSportsTalk.com. Newhouse Afternoon.
Hey, this is former Syracuse basketball player.
I'm underwhelmed.
I'm a little underwhelmed as well, but it's funny. Is that what came today?
Yes.
But you said they have 2 things.
The problem is, Jacob.
Can I say it? Yes. Can I say it? The first. Okay.
The first time he gave me
Go ahead.
the long tease, I was like, this can't possibly deliver. And that was when we did the I cameo with Ryan Cash. The funniest. Now when he expected to be to that level that's the issue.
Yeah. A standard that's just unachievable. It's unachievable.
I sent Ryan Cashman a cameo.
I'm going to have to try to compete. I'm going to have to bring something to the next show.
Dan and Josh predicted Jordan, how about this? Josh thought I was going to bring a casket for Giancarlo Stanton.
That's what we thought. Yeah, we thought he was going to buy a real casket.
That'd be kind of
Morbid, but funny.
funny or not. I'd laugh even if I didn't let you know I laughed. I laughed with the mic off. There was like, guys, you can't do that. Then turn the mic off and laugh again. Like,
What are you going to do about it? You're all the way over there.
Cashman ducking me. Ugh.
She just took a picture of us during our interview. I hope she got my good side.
you guys are stars.
I wish she took the picture as Jacob was taking off his hoodie.
Pair compete win. How about that? Pretty good stuff.
I'd never heard that quote.
Really?
No.
It's like it's a full.
So that, I guess, it makes sense.
No, it's a thing.
That would be like if I wore I have a shirt that Athletes Logos made. Huge shout out to them. They make some really cool New York sportswear.
Yeah.
I have a shirt that says all my teams are cursed on it.
I was just gonna say.
I should wear that. Well, maybe.
The funniest shirt is the Mets logo with Frank has worn, but it says cursed.
Yep. I got from a thrift store. My friend got it for me. It's "My entire team sucks" in the Mets logo in the Mets font. He got it from a thrift store for like $2, and it's like it's like a 4XL.
It's amazing.
So I have it hanging on my wall because I cannot wear it.
It's amazing stuff. I gotta find this. This volume can't be on. Sending you a video every day. You know what? This will be the video of the day today.
Yeah, Jordan. Jacob has started sending me Frank videos every day for the past week.
Frank the Tank video of the day.
I mean, they always deliver. I mean,
I have a library.
It gives me a good laugh, but it's just like, where is the stuff coming from?
You know, I have his tweet alerts on, by the way.
I mean, I'm not surprised. Again,
the laughs I get when I just see that I see the Devils have no heart. I look, hey Siri, Devils score. See, they're down like 1-0, or even if it's 0-0. It never pleases to make me laugh. Every time.
Do we want to do suffer moment of the week here?
Sure.
We have a quick out.
You could take it out if you want.
Sure.
About 90 seconds.
Yeah, we'll make it quick.
You know, I send Frank the Tank tweets like every day. I send him news. He retweets it like all the time. Like news, like.
Oh, you send him things and he retweets it? That's funny.
Yeah, and Frank, it's how Frank gets his news. Like I actually feel like a genuine like source for it. No, and you make me laugh. I sent him things that he doesn't know. He's not like a technology whiz.
There's gonna be a video one day. It's like, Jacob K, send me a video. Jacob K.
Syracuse Sports Talk.
He's been on stream before. He's been on stream before, and I've sent him things. And he's like, "Wow, this is 100%."
Broadcasting stars today. Broadcasting live from the campus of Syracuse University. This is Newhouse Afternoon.
Wrapping up shop here on Newhouse Afternoon on ESPN Radio Syracuse. Dan Papillo, Jacob K, who just revealed his Prepare, Compete, Win shirt because he thinks that that's going to rally the troops and that this will be his application to be the Yankees manager in 2025, even though it's already closed. But we're going to do what we always do here to wrap up our show, Suffering Moment of the Week, where if you haven't listened before, we pick a moment in sports or just in pop culture of absolute suffering where you would say, this is terrible, my teams are cursed. So for me, I'm going to pick the fact that the New York Islanders played the New York Rangers last week in a rivalry game. I'm a huge Islander fan, if you don't know. And the Islanders, Ilya Sorokin gave up 5 goals on 10 shots to lose that game 5-1.
50%.
That's terrible.
Terrible.
Absolutely terrible.
Suffering moment of the week. The biggest loser of the week. Marcus Stroman.
It had to end it on that, right?
Yeah. Just look at it. Just Marcus Stroman.
Marcus Stroman, indeed. Well, thank you all so much for listening to this hour of Newhouse Afternoon. Dan Papillo, Jacob K., Josh Rajan will be back next time. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.
This is Orange Nation.
How are you today, Jordan?
Howdy, howdy. I'm swell.